All right, so I just purchased recently from Sammy's camera the Instax Wide 300, and I'll show you sample shots that I took at Heapspeak Arboretum in Running Springs, California, up in the mountains there. And we'll do a quick walk around the camera just so you understand some of the features that I was working with. So let's start from the front while we're looking at it. This is your light meter, your viewfinder, the flash. To turn it on, it's just down here. Move that over, and then that's your shutter. On this side, there's nothing there. Underneath, there is the tripod mount. On the side, takes 4 AA batteries, so you don't charge it up. It comes with batteries. And the strap as well came with that, which is nice because I found that like the DSLR straps are way too thick. It's kind of overkill for small cameras, especially film cameras. So this is nice that it comes with a thinner strap. And then on the back, the camera is not heavy. It's just bulky. So I like that it has like this kind of grip right there, and then a really good massive grip right here. So I really feel like it's pretty secure, even if I wasn't using the strap. So on the back, I don't know why they put flash, because the flash just kind of goes off all the time. Over here in the window, it shows you whether your film is aligned. You know, line up the, let's open it here, yellow with the yellow. If you ever used Instax before, you know what that's about, lining up your film to make sure it's correctly in there. Then light to lighten your photo, dark to darken it, so you have a little bit of a control over the exposure, but I didn't find a difference or notice a difference from the shots I was taking outside. And then this window here shows you how much film you have left, and then here's your viewfinder. Now the viewfinder is off from the actual lens, so the parallax is real. It's not a lot, but when you think you have something centered over here in your viewfinder, it's not. It's actually off a little, because this is where the lens is taking the photo. When you experiment around a lot, especially with close-ups, you will notice it. So just overcompensate for that. If you think this is the center, it's not, and you want it to be the center, move your camera over a little bit, and it's going to be in the center. You'll quickly learn how to do that once you play around with it. So it does come with I think a macro thing. It's kind of useful, especially for selfies with a little mirror. I found that to be really accurate. But when you turn it on, right over here, it defaults to macro. So I wouldn't do anything closer than 40 millimeters. I've measured it. I did 30 millimeters and it came out blurry. If you're doing something artsy and want that look, go for it. Get closer than 30 millimeters. But I measured it, and usually between 40 and 50 millimeters, it'll come out in focus. And you just snap this little thing on. Just goes over that. Now you got to feel it'll move around a little bit. You got to feel it until it locks right about there. And then this little circle is what you want to line up if you want to try to center your subject. And when you look in here, there will be a circle, but it is not going to be the center. You'll even notice because of the parallax. Again, this helps you compensate for that when you're doing macro shots. I mean, you could do it without this, a macro shot. It's no big deal. But it's just kind of nice little thing to help you with that parallax. Now that's the default. If you want to shoot wide, then you got to remember to adjust it. So 3 meters to infinity. I have found that for the sharpest photos, I can't be any closer than 3 feet to 10 feet, a maximum. And then I can get a pretty sharp photo. And I'll show you examples of that. But anything more wide shots of like scenery, good luck, anything goes. And then back to adjust it to macro. But remember, macro is the default. It's not the norm for the wide. So then you just turn it off over here. And then I will show you some example photos that I took. Okay, so with the Instax Wide, this is the film I shot with. Instax Wide, not the Mini. The Mini is all over Target, so you can find that there. Some people say they find it in their Target, but I haven't been able to find Instax Wide in mine. I just got mine from Sammy's camera, and then you can also I buy a lot of stuff from Freestyle Photo as well. But you've got 10 shots per cartridge, So 2 of them, so you get 20 shots at ISO 800. So pretty bright. And they come like this in 2 separate packets. I usually keep the box with me and put it in my camera bag, and then this is where I'll store all my photos when I'm done taking them, because if you put them in your pocket like I did for this trip, it'll get scratched. It's very sensitive like that. So let me show you samples of what I got. Now these are all the dark shots, and these are all the light shots. So in the sunlight, in the shade. And in the shade, you can tell the flash definitely fired. And this is an example of my mom and my dog. I don't think I would even see my dog if she wasn't white. My mom is wearing a red shirt too. And it still came out super contrasty, which I still like the photo. But that's what you're gonna get with a shot in the shade with variable lighting, because you are on the hiking trail, and it was around 11 o'clock in the morning. And so this didn't come out in focus very well. I was trying to get some of the sequoia trees back there, and the flash did go off, and super contrasty still in the shade. And then the whole reason I love Heapspeak Arboretum is because of these sequoias. Now, I shoot here a lot, and the lighting in there, the best time of day for my preference is in the early morning, because you get some nice lighting shooting through the trees, and you get this nice fog too coming through these sequoias. But because I went around midday, it's just, it's midday lighting. That's what you get. Still looks kind of cool, but not what I was used to getting with like my cell phone or my my digital camera. Now for the light colored shots where I had my mom and dog in the sunlight, those turned out much better. I didn't even notice the flash go off. Maybe it did, but you can get a lot more color out of it. It's still contrasty, but you can see more of my mom's red, and you can see the green and the yellows and the oranges, and you can actually tell she's wearing gray pants, not black pants. Same here. This photo was about 3 feet away. This is about 10 feet away. And again, more color coming out, like the blue sky, and the greens and the yellows and the orange and the red. And my mom's shirt is really bright red. It's like mine, like this, bright red. And because that's the nature of Fujifilm, it just didn't come out that way. Now, here's one of a landscape kind of shot. Now, my mom is way back there, that little red one. This is where there's a switchback in the trail and there's a bend, so I'm waiting on one side and I had her hike ahead of me. It's not great to take pictures of people who are really far away. As you can see, the scenery just kind of dominates, and your people are going to be tiny, tiny, tiny. This is probably, I don't know how far away. There's a huge gorge in between me and her on the trail. But you can start to see some of the blue sky and the vignetting there. You really notice the vignetting when you take pictures of like the sky. You can really, really see that. But the yellow, I mean, it's fall. It's fall colors up there. You got yellows and reds and greens and browns all mixed in together. And as you could see, the blue sky, no clouds in the sky that day. It was perfect. But the vignetting on the side, you definitely notice it when you get those kinds of sky shots. Now, the ease of use in using it was pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward because you don't have a lot of features. Now, shooting in the wilderness on the trail there, there's not a lot of room for a tripod. So if you're gonna bring one, I mean, I didn't find that I needed one. I mean, I did bring my Manfrotto, vlogging camera tripod, and you can use that on the trail if you needed to. But for this camera, the Instax, I didn't really find a need for it. And there's not a lot of room on the trail. I mean, this is kind of an idea of like how wide it gets there. So I didn't really find that I needed it. Okay, so just a little practical advice on shooting at Heapspeak Arboretum. You do need a annual pass. Now this one, I got mine at REI. You can get it at any sports store. They usually have a National Forest Adventure Pass. So this is good for Angels National Forest, Cleveland, Los Angeles, San Bernardino, which is where Heapspeak Arboretum is located, National Forest. And this is an annual one. It cost me $30, and it's good for the entire year. So you can see I got mine in July when I actually start to do most of my hiking when I have free time. And then I got, for $5 extra, you can get a second vehicle pass. And this you can give to someone, you can share it with, if you're going to go on group hikes, or you have people who are traveling in a different car from you, just a little extra, or if you run into someone in the parking lot who just didn't have one. Now, Heapspeak Arboretum does have a kiosk where you can buy your parking pass for the day, but usually there's only someone there during the weekends. And I find that during the week it's empty. No one's really checking, or nothing really going on during the week. But get your annual pass. You can use this up in Big Bear if you go up there a lot, especially during Christmas, to play in the snow. I think it's totally worth it to get. I got my money's worth with this $30 pass, annual pass. Just put it on your windshield, or remember to put it on your windshield before you start hiking. So in terms of like crowds, as you can see in these shots, I didn't get any people. So it's a well spaced out trail. I mean, even though I went during a popular time on the weekends, we still ran into people, but it's not as crowded. Like if you go to a national park where all your shots are going to have someone else in them, photobombing them, like, Yosemite or the sequoias, things like that. So I found that even though this was a short trail, that I didn't have to compete and wait for people to move to get these kinds of shots. There's some bonus shots you can get too. The drive up to this Lake Arrowhead, Crestline, Running Springs area, you can take Highway 18, 330, like the Big Bear route. It's about an hour away from Big Bear. You can find so many shots. Just pull over to the side of the road and you can get a ton of other shots too, not just on the trail kind of shots. I'm a hiker, obviously. Obviously, I love the outdoors, and that's where a lot of my photos, I take photos, is in the outdoors, hiking in the wilderness. And I find that this would be really fun to take when I'm doing group hikes and I want to give photos to people. Now, to share them on social media, I just downloaded an app and I scanned it. Or I have friends who can scan it for me on their nice little scanner, and it'll be a little bit sharper. But if you want to share these instantly on Instagram, go to my Instagram, go to my website. It'll have my Instagram there, and you can see samples of these photos that I use the app to scan on. So hope this helps you guys out, especially those of you who like to go hiking out in the wilderness and take shots, Polaroid shots. These would be really great, especially the high contrasty ones, to get like a metallic colored Sharpie and write like Happy Holidays on there. Can you imagine that? That would be great. Like Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas, or all that, and then give that to someone. Like that would be really fun to do with those high contrasty photos. So don't throw them away. I mean, I think you can draw on them, and I think it'd be really cool to still play with some of these shots. All right, till next time.